BroncoOurRadio.com, where every second of the day an artist is live. BroncoOurRadio.com is home to the second annual Inspire Showcase concert. This is iTEACH, the Tar Heel Teachers Talk Show, radio show, and we are so happy because this show is all about informing and entertaining educators all around North Carolina. Today is Friday, February the 6th, and we're already in February. Can you believe that? And we're going to talk about so many great topics today. But let's go ahead and introduce ourselves because we have a tight-knit ensemble that is here that's going to help us to have these great conversations. So let's go ahead and take our roll call.
Ashlee Garrison here, representing the elementary population.
Hello out there, I am Arisha Smalls and I represent middle school.
Hello, Cassandra Parsons, representing special education.
Happy February, I'm Dia, high school.
So at the top of each broadcast, we do what we do every single week. We talk about so many great educational topics, and there are a lot that we're going to jump into today. So if you want to join our conversation, please send us some messages at Twitter at Tar Heel Teachers. You also can go to our Facebook page, Tar Heel Teachers, and you also can go to the blog, tarheelteachers.blogspot.com. So just go to one of those social media platforms and jump right into the conversation. So what's our first topic?
Our first topic is lots of confusion over teacher firings at Howard University Middle School, which is located at Howard University. I couldn't believe it. It was about the dismissal of 3 social studies teachers, indicating that the school is governed by an independent, nonprofit organization and regulated by the D.C. Charter School Board. And these 3 teachers resigned from the university on January the 27th. And they said that there's more to the story. It wasn't only about them not teaching African American history during Black History Month, but the school hasn't given a statement about it yet. But
So there was a lot of controversy about it because parents complained saying that these teachers were actually fired in front of the students, and there was a big hoopla, and that the parents were alleging that the teachers were fired because they were teaching Black history, when in actuality their school was located on the campus of a historically Black university.
I think there's a lot of questions to be asked because, I mean, from the article, some details that say not only were they fired and handed pink slips in front of the students, but they were escorted out by policemen. So I have a lot of questions. What's really going on?
Well, there was another. They had been written up before that for doing an article or doing a lesson on about right before Marion Barry's, the mayor's death, and they were written up for that also. And she said the teachers already planned to resign because they knew once they came forth with this lesson that they were going to be fired.
Yeah, because
Go ahead, Deanna.
it talked about how the teachers went to the parent group.
Right.
You know, like our parent-teacher association, I guess, they went to the parent group and they said they were planning on resigning because they wanted to include more lessons on African history because the curriculum was basically, I think they said Greek and
Roman.
Yeah.
And the parents hired a mediator to help the teachers, about this issue. So, but the teachers were asked to leave immediately. But they wanted to stay there long enough because they were going to help with the students with the social studies test. But
Okay, I'm going to throw something out here because I've seen this happen a lot, where sometimes we just drop the race card, and it could be so many other things going on. I've seen students do this, that if they have an issue with the teacher, they say, oh, he's racist or she's racist, when in actuality it just could be somebody getting on you for a variety of things. So I don't know. The principal is African American. They're on the University of a historically Black college, so on the campus of a historically Black college, so it may not be race. They might have actually just had a poorly lesson. I mean, it might have been about Marion Barry, but it might not have been race-related. It could have just been poor.
I think timing had something to do. They said it was during or close to or in Black History Month and right before his death. But still, it doesn't matter if it was if she's African American, because I've experienced principals that were African American, and I'm not going to say prejudice against their own people, but they had some issues. And it wasn't a color card, though. I wouldn't call it a color card. But what was really nice about it was, well, these students had some demands. They walked out. They walked out.
About a half a dozen.
They protested, and then they gave their demands, like they wanted a new social studies teacher. And they also wanted them to stop tracking them for being prison pipeline. So, you know, they had their demands too.
And I'm curious too if it was, you know, we see power struggles in schools sometimes. We see where the administration might think that they should have more say or more power whenever in actuality, we've talked about before, you know, teachers are professionals. We should have the ability to, if they want to teach something that day because it relates to something going on, then they should have the professional freedom to do that, even if in the curriculum it says, this week is Roman History Week or whatnot. So it could have been a power struggle between them and the principal. You know, they're saying, we want to do this, and she's saying, you're going to do it my way or you're gone. But I don't know, even if we don't know the whole story, I don't know that it was handled as far as the cops taking them out of there, you know.
Look at the facts. It's a historically black middle school. No, it's a historically black college. A middle school located in there. The principal is black, and the majority of the students are black. So you're teaching black history, and you're fired. So those, to me, don't line up.
It doesn't line up.
My problem is that the fact that they were fired in front of the students. That's the part, whatever the issue is, this stuff needs to go behind closed doors, because you don't want to taint students' opinions of you, because if you're going to remain at the school as the administrator and you just fired their favorite teacher, good luck.
And that goes back to, I think, what we were talking about last time. I think last radio show, you know, we want to work on encouraging our teachers and forming those relationships.
Right.
And how does that damage the relationships, you know? So interesting enough, we're talking about teachers losing their job. We also have an article in today's session about students less likely, students thinking they're less likely to get a good job when they graduate. And you know me with my statistics, the article had the statistics of, you know, interviewing middle school to high school, starting, well, actually, grade 5. And the percentage of girls who feel like they would find a good job when they graduate in grade 5 was 70%. So 70% of the girls said, yeah, I'm going to get a good job. The girls interviewed in the 12th grade, only 46% felt like they were going to get a good job. On the other hand, with our gentlemen, in the 5th grade, 67% of the boys thought they were going to find a good job after graduation, and then in the 12th grade, that dropped to 50%. So as our kids are getting older, they're thinking, you know what, when I graduate, I'm not necessarily going to get a good job. What did you all think about that?
I'm looking at the bold print. It says U.S. students. Where did they take these statistics from?
Interesting.
Like, what
I know
part
it was
of
a
the
Gallup.
US?
Yeah.
Yeah, they surveyed more than, or actually interviewed more than 800,000 middle school and high school students.
And I wonder if something about the real world intimidates them as they get older. You know, when you're younger, you have all these big dreams, but as they start to become reality, I wonder if any of them start to get intimidated a little bit about the responsibility that comes with getting older.
Right, and also as you get older, you're also exposed to a different, more profound population. I mean, you have several elementary schools that will feed into one middle school, so the competition is much more profound. So that may intimidate some students, and then you also may have some educators who aren't as encouraging. I mean, you're talking about elementary. You're talking about somebody really nurturing, really encouraging. I mean, have all these career days. I mean, every week is career day in elementary. But when you go to middle school and high school, those days kind of dry up. So we gotta keep encouraging our kids.
Right, and then from the home. Most of the time, if your parents are professional, then they instill those beliefs and values in their children. So then they're more prone to see things a different way.
That's true.
So that support from the home.
What is it, dear? You like your wheels are spinning?
Well, I just, you know, you made a good point, and not being in elementary schools every day, I forget that they're nurturing. And I am real big on continuing to nurture our young women and men in middle school and high school.
Well,
you know, today at my school, absolutely, today at my school they had, no, it was yesterday at school, they had a college fair. And at first I thought it was only open to juniors and seniors, and come to find out it was open to freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and that made me smile, because we're continuing to let our kids, all of them, realize, oh, you know what, we need to visit colleges. What do we need to do to get in college?
Right.
So
And that's a good point. Actually, on one of our guests here, Antuan, last year he was in my class when we were 6th grade, and we went to UNC Chapel Hill, and it was open to all of our students, We didn't have any limitations because we need to know that this is an option for us if we want this to be an option for us.
Absolutely.
I've heard of some schools who allow certain populations to go to UNC Chapel Hill for a college visit, while other schools, other students have to go to other schools that they think, well, maybe you should go to a community college. So I think it's important to let kids know there are no limitations. It's what you feel like you can do and what you're going to work towards.
Yes.
And I want to build on that, Marlow. If we're teaching them there's no limitations, whenever I was reading this, I was thinking about we're teaching them that, but yet we're testing them in a standardized fashion. And I thought about that whenever I was thinking, what's keeping them from thinking that they can do more versus an elementary school? And I thought you made a good point, Arisha. And I also thought, too, as they're getting older, they're having to take more EOCs, more tests. Are we really preparing them for the social aspect of what it takes to be successful in the professional world? Are we having them get up and, present things to their class? Are we having them lead projects and things like that they're going to have to do in a job,
We just had a debate at our school about about technology in the classroom, and one of the students made that very point, that the social part, the students are losing out on social skills. That's so true. They rather sit next to each other and text instead of have a conversation. So it's the art of communicating, and I think even it goes on up through teachers and administrators. We have to keep that art open.
Right, and keep giving them those opportunities. And I think, like Marlow next week, he's got his kids doing the Shark Tank.
The Project Inquiry, which
yeah.
we're all excited about.
Yes.
All of my wonderful co-hosts have signed up to be judges. I'm so excited.
It's going to be so much fun. But that's another one of those real-world, authentic, that's something that they might be doing one day. They could be a salesman. They could be in marketing. And you're giving them the opportunity. They might not even know that that's something they like.
And see what a classroom
But they get to do
offers.
that.
It just brings that world right into those four walls.
Right, but speaking
for the
of-
children that,
No,
children
go ahead.
can't hardly or don't have the opportunity or the privilege to go outside. Marlow, that was a great example of those global connections.
Yeah, so kudos to you. But, with all the opportunities that we want to offer our kids, we need funding for these things.
Yes, ma'am.
And recently I read an article about the Broad Foundation that's based in Los Angeles. They are putting a pause on their award decisions. So they're going to take a break from awarding. What
How much
they
do
do,
they award?
they award $500,000 in college scholarships, and they give money directly to school systems in urban areas, so we can grant our kids these opportunities. Well, they're saying that because there's so much confusion with not just Common Core, but with curriculum across the nation, that they're going to pull back their money. And they're going to hold out and wait to see what's going to become of curriculum before they're rewarded
How much did
or
Common Core
awarded.
cost? How many millions of dollars at Common Core to train the teachers? Is that a lot? I mean,
I would imagine so.
Yeah,
It was-
in one of those articles
we
we
had-
were talking about.
What was it? 47 states had buy-in, and I mean we don't have that many now because
Right.
some have rejected it, but
Right.
that's a lot of money.
Right,
And
and
see,
now
Cumberland County Schools was actually one of the finalists a couple of years ago. So our students actually benefited because I think we received, is it $250,000 in scholarships. So with this, the system not actually, education not actually having a command on what's going on and being very clear, now you have our business partners who are pulling out.
Well, and it makes sense. If I was a business partner and I'm awarding money on schools that have the most improvement, I need to be able to award those schools properly.
Right.
I don't want to give the money away to school Moly Mo and school Toly Toll really did, the best.
Love the
So-
names, dude.
math-
But listen to this. But with numbers in mind, they said that usually 75 of the largest school districts in the nation were considered automatically eligible. But last year there were only 2 school systems that made it through the whole review process. And then so they gave them both the prize.
Yeah, and tell me this, we were just talking about last night, the letter grades that schools are receiving. So I wonder if it has something to do with the state, the way that each individual state, because we're not all unified, even though we are aiming to be, and that's the goal with Common Core, we are not all unified yet as far as how we're assessing school systems and schools. So I'm almost wondering if that had an impact on it at all.
I would imagine so.
I
Yeah.
think there should be some type of probationary period where a school had to try, or a district had to try something for at least 3 years to
We
get
should've-
consistent data. Or
I think
something.
you're
At
right. I
least
think
get
the
a
federal
progress report like we
Pulling
give
in
the
and
kids.
Pulling out,
Right.
pulling in and not doing it, it's just, it's
You're
not.
right. I think the
we're-
federal government should have mandated that when you're talking about race to the fund dollars. Race to the fund. Race to the top dollars. You're right. I think they should have made certain that you had to implement it for like 5 years or whatever before you. Because I mean, now this is wasteful.
I
It's
think
quite hazardous.
before we got hit with the hard grade, like we do the students, seriously, we should have gotten some kind of progress report that says, hey, this is where you are, this is what you need to do to improve before we got a hard grade. Now that's
That's a
on
good
our
point.
record and we're being judged by
Like the
it.
grade they're giving us could be the progress report, and you had so much time to pick it up.
Right, and a lot of
That's a really good
principals hit
idea.
them by surprise. They didn't know that they were B, C, D schools.
We
Yeah.
needed a rubric.
We need a
Because we
rubric.
have ongoing progress.
I don't
of
feel
our
like they've
schools,
differentiated this whole
benchmarks and
thing.
Common assessments. So we needed some notification to say, look, this is coming. Here's some ways you can improve.
And all of a sudden, parents think, oh, my child's school is disastrous. It's going downhill.
Panic.
But there is a school that is a little bit disastrous. Tell us about that, Ashlee.
Well, I guess there's a school in Lawrence Middle School. It's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and they just found out that there's some hazardous waste under the school that's actually producing cancer-causing toxins. So they've known that the waste was there since 2005, but they've been doing testing, and supposedly in between then and now, none of it was dangerous, but now they're saying it might be.
Dangerous to whom, though?
Well, and
Anybody
I
there, I
read
guess.
the article, it says the parents are keeping the kids out of school, like the attendance rate is going up. But at the very end, it
That's
talks
true.
about how the tests have been given and the air is actually clean. So I don't have any kids, but those of you with kids, I'm curious, like, would you keep your kids out of school if they did several tests?
They
But
said-
what about the teachers?
the
I
teachers
don't
are
know.
They said the teachers are posting assignments online, right?
And
So
I will
that they
post it
can't,
at home.
yeah.
And I will
Social
post
skills
it
are
from my
issues.
house.
Okay, 2 points of view. As a parent, I might keep my kids at home. I'm pretty sure I would.
What
And
would you
as
do
a
as a
teacher,
teacher?
I would post online. I would also be grading the work at home. I would not be posting from the school.
Well, what I would have to do is I would have to take a break, and we're going to have to take a break now. I'm taking a break from school until they can get it under control. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll be joined by Sherron Evans and Antuan Sanders. They're both from Southie Middle School, and they're going to tell us about a special project. You're listening to iTEACH, the Tar Heel Teachers Radio Show, only on BroncoRadio.com. Well, every second of the day, now, this is live. This is iTEACH, the Tar Heel Teachers Radio Show, and we're so fortunate to have Sherron Evans, who is a guidance counselor at Southie Middle School. She's joining us, and we also have Antuan Sanders, who is a 7th grader at Southie Middle School. And they're going to discuss the Southie Middle School Pennies for Patients fundraiser. And so, welcome to both of you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, it's pretty fun on here already.
Are you having fun already, Antoine? I have to tell you, Antoine and I, we go back to the 6th grade, so Antoine's one of my students. So, Antoine, tell us about Pennies for Patients. Why is the school having that fundraiser?
Well, we're having a fundraiser because I have cancer, and that cancer is leukemia. It is a cancer that attacks blood cells, which takes out my white blood cells, which lowers my counts, and I can't fight off diseases. Well, I'm doing pretty well right now. My port will be taken out pretty soon, which is a needle that's in my chest that's connected to a vein or an artery. So when the doctors put in medicine, it travels through my entire body. I'm doing well. That's probably going to come out soon. I've been having it for 3 years.
Okay.
We're raising money for it so we can help other kids who have leukemia and other types of cancer. So we're collecting money We're collecting money so we can send it to Stand Up to Cancer, and we can raise money for them.
And so when does Ms. Evans, when does the fundraiser officially kick off?
It officially kicks off the very last week of February through the second full week of March.
So if people wanted to donate, if our listeners want to donate, where can they send the money?
Send the money to Southview Middle School, but in your little memo line, please put JS2S for PEDS.
Okay.
PEDS.
And speaking of JS2S, what is JS2S?
Well, first of all, JS2S is junior students to students, which help raises awareness in transitioning students and critical needs. JS2S also helps incoming and departing students meet their critical needs. Our focus is on 3 important modules:
Okay.
finding the way, campus culture and community, academics, requirements, and programs, access slash edubility, whichever one you read. And lastly, relationships. Acceptance, trust, risk, and rewards through this job membership, everyone has a job.
Okay.
To sum it all up, what Antuan is saying, to become a member of JS2S, which is junior students to students, it is a military group. Lots of times when our students transition in from different cities, from different states, from different countries, they are completely lost when they come into a school. They feel left out, they feel alone, they're lost. And what we do, we pair the students together because they listen to each other more than they listen to us as adults.
Right.
They want to know what's going on in the community, where you hang out, what kind of sports, what should I do, all little things like this. And that's important to hear it coming directly from someone of your own age versus coming from me, their advisor. It is a student-led group. They're in charge. We meet twice a month. We have different types of socials, ice cream socials, but our biggest project that we do is in April, and I would invite all of you out on April the 17th. It is on a Friday night.
I see some people writing it down.
Very good. Between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m. It is very, very formal during that time. Students like Antuan.
And what's the name of the event?
It is our junior student to student military ball. It is the only ball so far in Cumberland County that has been hosted by Southview Middle School, by any middle school in Cumberland County. We started last year and we had a very, very good turnout. It's very elegant. The students have a very sit-down dinner. They get to dance with their parents. They have to say speeches for their parents. We ask that the parents that are military, that are active duty military, to wear their dress blues. We ask the girls to wear formal gowns. The guys wear tuxedos. It is a very
We
formal
had it last
occasion.
year. It was really wonderful. Antoine, were you there last year?
No, sadly I could not come.
But you're going to come this year,
Hopefully.
hopefully. Antoine, go ahead.
I have a question, Ms. Evans, or Antoine. So with the military ball, do you invite other middle school students, like maybe the top of the class, or is it just Southview Middle School?
Actually, it's not just for Southview Middle School. Our students from Southview Middle School can invite other guests.
Okay.
So it's up to them. If they select you, then yes, you can come.
So,
unless you get an invitation directly from me.
Got it. So Antoine could invite a friend from 71st Middle School or one of the middle schools.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Antoine, who are you going to invite?
Absolutely.
You got somebody you're going to invite to the thing, to the ball?
No, unless I have a girlfriend, Gabriel. I might ask them.
Okay.
He has a dad who's in the military.
Okay. So what has been your experience with JS2S, Antoine? What do you enjoy about being in that group?
I enjoy meeting other people, and I like to help. And also, we had to raise up the flag and lower it.
Was this your concept to do the Pennies for Patients? Is that an idea that you took to Miss Evans and said you wanted to do it?
I actually don't completely remember. I think it started with me talking about it, and then Miss Evans came up with the idea. And honestly, I don't really remember.
But really, Miss Evans, that's the heart of what JS2S is.
Yes.
That a student has an idea, and then as the advisor, you help them
Exactly.
to pull it all together.
Absolutely. And because of Antoine and his bravery,
Yes.
I just felt the need that this is something that we need to do in honor of Antuan. He is so sweet, and to know him is really, truly to love him. And I do love him. I do. I love him just as if he was my own.
He's a handsome little something.
Yes, he is. And he loves this bear. And when he brought this bear into my office, I'm like, Antuan, let me see the bear. And so he says, Miss Evans, this is one of the bears that I received at the hospital. And I'm like, cool, we can use that as our mascot. So that's what we're going to do every day during lunch for the next 3 weeks. Once we start, they're going to be collecting money. And Antuan even told me during my absence this morning at our counselor appreciation that he even collected money. I'm like, cool. So they're not only giving pennies, they're giving big money.
And we're talking about
$5.
students too. We had a pet rally at our school yesterday, and some students right there on the spot. Antoine got out there and he did a kickoff and announced that we were having this event and this fundraiser, and there's some students already started giving money immediately. And so, you know, middle school kids always get a bad rap, but in the next rally we've got some sweet kids out there.
And that's awesome that you guys have taken something, a challenge, and turned it into something so positive. And just in my life personally, I've had 2 people that I've known that had leukemia, Antuan, and they're both survivors. They're both doing very well now, just like you. So just proud of you for everything that you've been through. And, you know, there's going to be kids younger than you that go through your school that may have the same experiences. And for them to see the light that you're shining is just amazing. Taking something like that, challenge, and just turn it into something so positive. So I commend both of you for doing that.
And Antuan, what advice would you give? I know there are other illnesses and sicknesses that our children are dealing with that are not always made public. So if you knew of any students that had that, what is a word of inspiration or something that you can share with them?
I think that I would mostly just say this line that my dad always likes to say, that you should never be a follower, you should always be a leader. And if you're a leader, you could lead other people into becoming them, for them to be leaders, and then make things happen, and the world's a better place.
So you're right. Even in any type of situation that you're dealing with, you still have to be a leader. You're right. Even in any type of adversity. So that's such a wonderful message to share, not just with students, but teachers. I mean, other people in the community, because we all have different strife that we encounter. I mean, Antoine's an inspiration for me. I had him all last year. And if you did not know what he was going through, I mean, you would not know, because he's such a great student. He's very smart. I mean, he knows so much about so much. He's the one who told us about the fact that there was a sub company, won't call their name, who actually was using the same products that they used to inflate tires. They used the same products in their breads to make their bread rise. And so he brought that to our attention and did a report so that we would not go to that place. You remember that, Antoine?
Yes, it's removed now though. They stopped doing commercials a lot, so that's probably a hint. And now they're coming up with their new sub deal. So.
And you know, I want to just add to it also that lots of time when we look at students with leukemia, we think of the bald head.
Right.
Look at Antoine's hair. Isn't it beautiful? Mm-hmm. It is really beautiful. And when I met Antuan last year, and we had to do some paperwork with his parents for accommodations to make sure, you know, that the teachers are well aware of his disease. I'm like, oh my gosh, this brave child, such a young age, and he's so responsible. He really is. He knows what he's supposed to do and what he's not. And so the other day I had some Reese's peanut butter cups and some drinks in my office, and I'm like, Antoine, I want to give you some, but you know what you're supposed to do. You need to educate me to make sure that I'm not giving you things that you're not supposed to have. And he says, well, my count is this, this, and this. I'm okay because I go back to the doctors on this day, so I'm good, Miss Evans. I'm good. I'm going to make sure of that. So he's very brave. He's my little hero.
Yes, he's very knowledgeable.
Yes, he
And that
is.
leader.
Yes,
Yeah,
he is. Yes, he is. So make sure you all come to see Antuan too on April the 17th at Southview Middle School Gymnasium between the hours of 6 and 9. You will receive a personal invitation from me if you are interested. Okay? And we are the only middle school in Cumberland County that offers a military ball for the military-connected students.
Ms. Evans, as you've been having conversations with your colleagues in the counseling department, has there been any conversations of other middle schools or any other schools deciding to put on a military ball to bring awareness to the fact that the different things that those military students go through? Because Antuan is a military child.
Absolutely not, unfortunately. Antuan is one of the students that I take underneath my wing, but also we went to our Forward March conference this year, and I took another student with me, and just to hear how brave these students are and how dedicated. And when we look at the military, we really need to take a look at the students as well, because they give up a lot. You know, they give up their parents, their loved ones, be it mom, dad, sister, brother, guardian, and you know, they give up a lot, and I just commend them for their bravery. But it's a lot, Mr. Artis. We don't have too many junior students to students in Cumberland County groups. Some say that they're going to get started, but they really don't. But I am a civilian, but we have so many military students that are in need, and I just felt like, hey, I'm going to help be that person to put the message out to let them know that someone does care about them, and I'm one of the ones that really care, and I'm going to make sure that they get everything that they need.
That's great. There's and we appreciate all the wonderful work that you're doing. Actually, this week is Counselors Appreciation Week, and we celebrate you. What are some things, if there were teachers out there who, because you're a former teacher,
Yes.
you were in the classroom for how long?
14 and a half years.
Working which group?
Special population, BED, self-contained.
So you did that for 14 and a half years. So how did you make that transition that you wanted to be a counselor?
Well, actually, Mr. Artis, I was already in the, we can say, the mental health aspect, because I work part-time at a group home, and so every weekend when I was working, I was already counseling the students, the children in which I was had to live with, basically, because I was working 16 hours on Saturday and 16 on Sunday. So therefore, I was already doing the things that one would do as a counselor. And I'm like, okay, I'm already doing this, and I'm teaching, so let me just see what I can do about going back to school, get my master's, and really become a counselor. It was not easy for me to come out of the classroom after being there for so many years, because being a self-contained teacher, you know, it takes a heart. It takes heart. And to leave my students, it was rather rough, but I knew that it was time. I knew that it was time, and I've been doing counseling now for 9 years at Saffie Middle School, and I absolutely love it. So you have to make sure that your heart is in it.
That's good.
So I know that everybody has like a motto that they live by, they work by. What is yours?
Love the children. Love what you're doing. And if you don't, you cannot fake it. It will show.
That's good. Antoine, what do you consider to be the role of a school counselor? When you look at your counselors, what do you think their work is about?
I think that they're pretty much just supposed to be there for the children so they can learn and they can improve, and they have their models to look after. So, like, there are some really cool teachers out there. Like, there's a couple of them. Like, one of them is Mr. Artis.
That's why he asked that question.
I did not say counselor.
Teasing.
There's a lot of children who I've seen who say that Mr. Artis is their favorite teacher out of all of them.
Do you miss him, Antoine?
Pretty fun.
Antoine, do you miss him?
Yeah.
I
mean,
miss
I see him
Antoine,
every
too.
day.
Yeah, I make a point to see Antoine. But it's different not being in the same class there every single day, don't you think?
It is.
I mean, it's a different relationship we have now. And Antoine, when we went to the field trip last year to UNC Chapel Hill, you had someone who actually met you at the field trip. Who met you while we were on the field trip?
That was my CPAL, which is a cancer pal, someone who uses their hours to come over and like talk to play with the kids and stuff when they're in the hospital. She went to school there, so then she asked if she could come.
Are you still in contact with her?
No.
Or is it based on each year? She was your CPAL last year?
She has something going on right now. I think it was got out of school.
She might have graduated.
Yeah.
I think she graduated.
Graduated and went on to
But Ms. Evans was talking about Antoine's professionalism, being responsible. He was like, "Can I invite my CPAL? Can my CPAL meet us while we're on the campus?" And we were able to get clearance for her to meet him, and it worked out wonderfully.
I enjoyed her. She's very nice. She gave us our own personal tour, which made it even better thanks to Antuan.
Antoine, what are some of your aspirations? What do you want to be when you get older, when you grow up?
There's actually quite a few things I want.
Go ahead and share with us.
Well, first of all, one thing that I wanted to be ever since I was little, which you're probably gonna be surprised about this, it's a big word, a paleontologist, which is the scientist that uncovers the dinosaur bones and clears them off. And I've loved dinosaurs since I was little. They're the favorite philosopher. Well, and then I also want to, since I love video games, I'd like to play the new video games and test on them. And I'd also like to work with 343 Industries, whose new owners, Halo, for those young viewers out there. Yeah, I'd like to work with them. I have an idea for a game. I already told them about it. So, yeah.
Good.
Wow, very good.
So it's not like the article was saying about some people not believing that they have the chance. Antoine, I know he has high confidence, and he also has drive. So I certainly, whatever career that you want, I'm sure you'll be able to achieve it. I have no doubt about it. I think you'll probably be one of those people who have multiple careers.
Most likely.
So Antoine, what could you tell our radio audience would be what is the most or the biggest thing that we can do to support your initiative?
I think the best thing you could do is to help others out there. Tell them that they're not alone. Like, you may actually have somebody who's going through something tough, and you could tell them about it. They can feel better about themselves, so that they can go on.
That's great.
So those social skills we were talking about, that communication.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Well, let's go ahead and jump in. Antoine is familiar with this story too. There's a 13-year-old in Brooklyn who actually helped his school raise over $1 million based on his words. So up in Brooklyn, they're trying to raise money in order to get their kids to go to Harvard University. And so their goal was $100,000. And then whenever the principal made the announcement, they had raised over $700,000. And the reason it was, there was a muralist, a photographer, Brandon Staten, who actually has all these different viral pictures that he includes on the internet. Well, he ended up talking to one of the 6th graders and striking up a conversation. Well, actually, was he in 6th grade or 7th grade? I think he's in 7th grade. I think he's in 7th grade. And so as the boy is walking home, he strikes up a conversation, and the boy's profound words end up making a difference. And so he put it on one of the pictures. It went viral, and so many people, over 40,000 people have contributed to their cause. And so now these kids are going to Harvard, but guess what? They have enough money to send the kids to Harvard for the next 10 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
And so what he actually said was, he asked him who was the reason why he was doing so well in school, and who was it, Dia? Who was the person that he actually commented on?
He said it was his principal. And when the photographer asked him, well, how did your principal influence you? I'd like to read what his response was, because it was so touching. And of course, we're aspiring principals.
All of us.
His response was, when we get in trouble, she doesn't suspend us. She calls us to her office and explains to us how society was built down around us. And she tells us that each time somebody fails out of school, a new jail cell gets built. And one time she made every student stand up, one at a time, and she told each one of us that we matter.
Cheers.
I know, I'm going to control them. You all, that is powerful. And I think as teachers in the classroom, that was the principal telling all her students, I think it was 300 students, I don't remember.
Right.
But that was a principal telling all of her individual students that we matter. And especially any teachers out there listening, you can do that to the kids in your classroom. Mm-hmm. I used to tell my students the 6 daily basic, the daily principles that kids need to hear. You know, you are important to me. I believe in you. Mm-hmm. Tell them that they matter. and it makes a difference in your classroom. They will work for you because they know that you genuinely care.
And a middle school child was able to communicate that to a photographer, and then it turned, his words end up getting so many people inspired, and now all these kids are going to go to Harvard to visit, to let them know that the sky's the limit. There's no
Absolutely.
place that you can't go, and he was able to help his community. I think that's so profound. And he's also going to receive a scholarship so that he can continue to pursue his education based on his words. So words matter. What we say matters, and we've got to make it count.
Words have power, and words have power, and we tell our kids that all the time in school, that be careful what you say, because you don't know who's hearing you, and you don't know how long they hold on to it, and once you've said it, you can't take it back. So you want to be mindful of the words that you use, and he used his in a mighty way.
And
He sure did.
another point was, he said, we don't call our students, our children students, we call them scholars. So, you know, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think that's important to highlight the language that you share. I mean, you say, oh, students or boys and girls, but when you go into a classroom, I need all of my high achievers looking at me. I mean, that just sets a different tone. Or these are our scholars. We had a curriculum night a couple weeks ago, and I called it Scholar Showcase, because we were showcasing all the great works that our students were doing, and they did all the facilitating. Antoine, did you come to the curriculum night?
No, I haven't been to both curriculum nights. Last curriculum night, I was hoping to win because I also made a STEM project, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, where we built this chair, and it was a prototype, and we named it Junior because it was small enough for little kids to sit in, and it was sturdy enough for them to go in there. I would have went, but then I forgot that I had basketball practice and drum practice. Then I realized, and then when we got home, when curriculum night started, we realized that we got messages saying that both of them were canceled.
Well, it was canceled.
Both practices were
Oh, the
canceled.
practices were canceled. So you missed it. Oh, that's so funny.
We couldn't win, but
Yes.
both of our we got the information too late.
Okay, I understand. But it's just important that we let our kids know that they are the achievers of what's going on in the world.
Absolutely. And hearing the story with Antuan and hearing the story about this little boy in Brooklyn, you know, it kind of makes you realize as a teacher the impact that you're really making. We talk about a lot of this negative stuff sometimes. Not that we're negative,
Right.
but, you know, we bring light to these situations. But it's nice just to read something in the news where we're making a positive difference. And no matter what grade we might get as a school or as a teacher, we're doing big things. And good job.
I'm hoping that teachers will take note of these positive articles that we're reading and some of the messages that are taught through them, that we need to, there's some small changes that you can make just by the way we approach our students, just by what we make them think that they are and what they're capable of doing, and their only limitations are themselves. Like we need to build them up and, you know, start sharing some of these things, get the communication going again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So we actually, we just appreciate Ms. Evans and Antoine for coming on our program. And we're going to have more information about the Pennies for Patients. And Antoine, what did you say the acronym was?
Heads.
HEADS. Okay, so we'll have more information about that on our blogs. And we would love for you all to donate. Again, if you're going to write a check, just send it to Southie Middle School in care of JS2S, which is our student-led organization for our military students. So in just a couple of seconds, or a couple of minutes, we'll be back with our positive quote of the day. This is iTEACH, the Tar Heel Teachers Radio Show on BroncoRadio.com. iTEACH, the Tar Heel Teachers Radio Show is back. We want to leave everyone with a positive thought. So this is our quote for today. It's not how much we give, but how much love we put into giving. And this comes from the late, great Mother Teresa. And this quote, really, when I saw it, I thought about how much teachers give. I mean, Antoine was here talking about his fundraiser, and we heard about what was all 40,000 people who gave to the school in Brooklyn. But if you're going to give just for the sake of giving, you might as well not do it. If you're just going to come to school just for the sake of coming, you might as well not come. It's about giving of yourself, giving of your spirit, loving the people that you're with. I mean, that's what really makes a difference when you're talking about moving the school forward, having an A mentality, even if your school is at an F. You still can have the A mentality by, you know, giving of yourself.
That's
Yeah,
right.
your heart has to be in it. Your heart has to be in it. You can't do what we do for a paycheck.
Right.
The students know what teachers are passionate about their job and what teachers aren't.
And it doesn't take anything extra to do it. Just do it.
And it reminds me of quality over quantity. You know, it's better to do a couple good things that are going to make a big difference and have it in your heart that you want to do it than to do a million things and not really care anything about it. Like Marlow was saying, just doing it to do it. So, you know, if you're just trying to make some small steps, trying to do some good things in your school, start with one project or one student that you really want to take under your wing, like Miss Evans did with Antuan. I know she has all of her students that she loves, but just focusing on the quality of your relationships with your students and what you're doing at your schools, I think, is important.
And I think that's what students are going to remember as time goes on. They're going to remember how much you gave of yourself and how you invested in who they are. Well, we thank you all so much for investing in our program. We thank you so much for tuning in. We want to thank our guest, Sherron Evans, the counselor at Southview Middle School, and Antuan Sanders, one of the 7th graders who's working on his project, Pennies for Patients. So more information is on the blog. And we hope that you all will join us next Friday. This is the same place, same time, same people. This is iTEACH, the Tar Heel Teachers Radio Show on BroncoIRadio.com, where every second of the day an artist is live. So everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
Good night.